Thanks, Greg, and welcome members, especially those that have come in today in their own time. This is a most important time for us. Today is a sad day. It's a sad day because police throughout the state, police that are committed to their communities, police that are committed to the safety of New South Wales, have been forced by this incompetent government to show them up for what they really are. We stand together today to condemn the New South Wales government, a government that is in disarray, a government that would rob our members of their pay, their conditions, and most importantly, our hard fought for protections if we're injured on duty. Today we stand together to tell a Reece government that any wage offer that does this will never be accepted by the membership. You, the membership, have shown the government that we are serious about our jobs and serious about making law and order a priority for the people of New South Wales. Your association has shown the government in a document titled Working Smarter, Ways to Improve the Way We Do Our Job and Deliver Better Policing to the Community. This was presented to a mass meeting in June at Trades Hall. This did what an incompetent government could not do: improve policing to the community without taking away protections for police and saving the taxpayer money at the same time. It is now time to increase the pressure on government to show that we have not gone away. We will never allow government to take away our hard-fought conditions and protections. You will be asked to endorse further workplace action by way of another fine-free period commencing Monday the 3rd of August, and there is no end date. I can also indicate that if the government continues to ignore our concerns, I will ask your executive to authorise a mass meeting of members to place further pressure on those who would attempt to further degrade our profession. I've seen the anger of our members. I've seen their concern about the thought of losing their protections. We will not allow the government to take them away. I've also seen the support of the community. Almost 60,000 people have logged on to our Keep Our Cops campaign site. That's individual computers logging on. It's an amazing support system that's been shown throughout the state by the community for you as police officers. Thank you for showing your support. You know the enemy. This will be a long fight. You have the resources to fight it. You have the commitment of your officials to fight it, and united we will be successful. I thank you again for coming today. You are the strength of this union. Make sure you use it. Thanks very much.
Thanks, members. I just want to give you some brief background to the negotiations and give you an understanding of where we're at. The association has been working on the pay round for probably more than 18 months. We engaged in an extensive round of consultation last year. The outcomes were presented to your 2008 conference at all the elected delegates, and they set the direction for the claim. And further consultation following the conference last year culminated in your executive developing and endorsing the claim, which was provided to the government in December of 2008. Some of the key parts of the claim, and they're pretty radical things: a fair pay rise for police, a 10-hour break between shifts, improved arrangements for our TOU, prosecutors, Highway Patrol and FSG to try and attract and retain people in those important areas of policing, a decent on-call payment, and getting the New South Wales Police to take responsibility for the psychological well-being of its officers. Not exactly out there greedy union grabs, just basic improvements, incremental improvements to your pay and conditions. As I said, we provided the document to the government in December, and it wasn't until April, some 4 months later, that the Commissioner finally wrote to us asking us to cost our claim, which is a bit unusual given the resources that New South Wales Police have got. Finally, on the 23rd of April, we started negotiations and were presented with a list of what is being described as bargaining parameters. The parameters that we were presented with are pretty straightforward. It's the government that proposed that police could have a 4% per annum pay rise over 3 years. However, they would only fund 2.5% of that 4%. The remaining 1.5% has to be found from what they call employee-related savings. And that roughly equates to $156 million over 3 years. That's what they're expecting us to find out of the very narrow employee-related savings in order to get a pay rise. And just to refresh your memory, some of the things that they tossed up in their bargaining parameters were as follows. The stuff that Craig Brickwood mentioned on his DVD, stopping workers' compensation top-up after 26 weeks. That starts at about $390 a week for a single officer with no dependents. That, I would dare say, would place most of our members on the poverty line. They wanted to reduce the pre-88 entitlements by the same amount. In other words, for those in the old scheme, the 2,500 people left in the old scheme, they would have their pay cut also after 26 weeks to the same level. They also proposed a reduction in the overall budget of 50% in transferred officers' compensation, basically saying that the Commissioner would have the discretion to decide who gets it and who doesn't when he transfers people around the state. Cutting shift allowances with a massive effect on the take-home pay of junior officers. We did some rudimentary calculations, and even with a 4% increase, cutting the pay of a probationary constable would mean they'd actually end up with a pay cut. And ironically, and a pretty sort of nasty little negative thing, they wanted to cut TA payments for situations where police are expected to travel away from their families and basically provide, have some clerk somewhere get your accommodation for you and cut that part of the entitlement out. This is what we've described as a mean and crude approach to the negotiations. It's either accept the trade-offs or no pay rise. None of this is acceptable. It's insulting. We told them that on the day that they provided us with the document, and nothing's changed in the last 4 months. We won't recommend it to you, and nor should you cop it. The government's approach has let everyone down. It's let themselves down, the public down, and the police officers, more importantly, down. It's our view as a negotiating team and your executive that we must take the campaign to the next level. We've got to continue to build the pressure on the politicians and their puppet masters. And at the end of the day, to ensure that you get what you deserve, and that is to be treated with respect and to be provided with a decent pay rise without trade-offs. On behalf of the negotiating team, I wish to thank you again for your presence and for your ongoing commitment to the campaign. You are what this is all about, and with your support we can get a fair deal. It's important that we keep the lines of communication open. It's important that we continue to use the Keep Our Cops website to keep you informed and to get your ideas coming back through to us. But at the end of the day, it's your pay rise and it's your commitment that's going to achieve it. Thank you.
Thanks, members. It is a bit of a lengthy motion, but we need your approval to do a number of things. It's moved Duncan Gray, seconded Prue Bergen, that this meeting condemns the trade-offs proposed by the New South Wales Government's negotiating parameters and demands that they be withdrawn forthwith. Further, this meeting endorses the report Working Smarter, Police Association of New South Wales plan to fund the 2009 award and calls on government to implement its recommendations. Further, this meeting calls on the Executive of the Police Association of New South Wales to reintroduce a fine-free workplace action from the 3rd of August 2009 for an indefinite period. Further, this meeting endorses the Executive of the Police Association of New South Wales to call a mass meeting of members at Parliament House when Parliament resumes in September 2009. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried unanimously. I thank you, members, for that. It's important that we show the strength of the 15,000 members out there. This government cannot be allowed to get away with what it's trying to do.